Thank you. Welcome to day 2 of CXO 2.0 conference. Another day of exploring business strategies and digital transformation and leadership excellence. Now we have been running a little bit late, so do apologize for that. But we will start right now. I think our last panelist has come in. Okay, awesome. All right, let's start. So today's panel discussion, the topic is, do your decisions reflect your core values, upholding purpose in the face of business pressures? Now, our moderator is Mahesh Shinde, who is the consultant, fellow, and chartered engineer at Institute of Mechanical Engineers, UK. And our panelists include of Olivia Leong, who is the CEO of Vera Asia, Dr. Mahesh Deshmukh, PhD, Managing Director of Maruma Consultancy, Nazareno Ventola, who is the CEO and Managing Director of Airporto G. Marconi di Bologna, and Maya Matkor, International Keynote Speaker at Maya Talks Motivation. And lastly, Adil Akhtar, Founder and Group Chairman at Hedge & Sachs. Can we please have all our panelists and our lovely moderator on stage? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
It is.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Only one or two voices? No? Thank you. Now I can see that you had a sumptuous breakfast, right? Okay. I believe panelists have been already introduced, but still I would like to give a little bit more information on all of them. As we know, Nazareno is CEO and the Managing Director of Airporto Bologna. So I believe if you face a problem on Bologna Airport, he is the man to contact, right? He has been instrumental in strategic and performance management and has worked in several areas. Today, he's based out of Bologna, but I'm sure that it will be tough to handle the people out there. You have all sorts of people along with you, so we'll come to that, but then that's the way it is. Maya, as you can very well see on the screen, is that colorful motivation. And she has been giving talks internationally and very passionate about her work. She has been also dealing with a lot of personal issues, if I can understand that, when you deal with people. When I say personal issues, not your personal issue, people issue. So that's one way to look at it. Dr. Mahesh, who also holds a similar name to me, is a doctorate in psychology. He is also MSc in management and a sort of IITian from Mumbai. He is, I believe, the ICF member. Currently, you're chairman of ICF, and has about 7,000 plus years of mentoring and coaching experience under his belt. Olivia is from Singapore, and she basically is the CEO of Vera Private Limited in Singapore, and she is also having an experience in payment sector as well as the hospitality sector, if I understand correctly. She is very passionate about her work. Her vision in leadership has already helped many successful business across the world, if I can say. And she is a globe-trotting person who loves to, have a lot of new things, which I wouldn't say this on the stage, but I experienced a couple of her, visions or the detailing of something which she found here, and probably she'll take it up with, I don't want to get into the detail, but she will take it up because she also has a company which holds the events and the organizes the seminars, etc. Plus, she advises various businesses along with. Adil Akhtar, I'm sorry, I don't have much of because I didn't get the introduction.
A lot of more experienced people are around me, so I think.
No, that's perfectly okay. But as I can say that you are also founder and group chairman of Hedge and Sachs. Yeah, Hedge and Sachs. Okay, I take it from the Indian context. There is a surname called as Hedge. I thought that it's Hedge and Sachs. I was wondering whether it's an Indo-European company or something like that.
Also almost took a year's time to really pronounce our company's name really well.
Okay.
I'm not surprised.
Sorry for that. So that's the panel. I believe if I add up the experience of all people, it will be more than 100 years on this dais. Of course, there will be an experience of 1,000 years from the audience, if you collectively put it. But what we are going to do is that, see, today's business is a very complex business, a canvas of not many challenges, not many sustainable values that we need to look at. And before we deep dive into the subject, we're going to have these considerations into the discussion. I would also suggest, recommend and advise if there are certain questions from the audience to make it more interactive. We will be having the typical time slot for those questions as well, or you can ask in between if at all that is convenient for you. These core values and what are the challenges that these core values need to be followed. Because see, what happens is that the core values, what we follow as a person, could be different than the core values that we observe at the corporate organization. And there is a perfect balance that we need to maintain. Because what we talk, we should walk. If we say that these are the values that the organization follow and you're not following it up, then it's of no use. So to get into those particular subjects, we have the experts in the various areas, right from psychology to motivation talk to experience with payment section to a company called as Hedge and Sachs, and most importantly, Nazarono, who is a CEO and MD of Bologna Airport, always deals with people of various nature. So we have diversity in panel, right from gender to the work areas to the experiences. So let us begin with the discussion. To start with, who want to go first?
Yeah, so Mahesh, I think that I was really excited about coming on this panel because we represent a very broad spectrum of professionals, right? I myself have worked in corporate for many years, 28 years, before I started my business 6 years ago, and had the opportunity to embark on an entrepreneurial journey, and through all the thick and thin of it all, I'm still here after 6 years. So, and I think that's what we want to really be able to share, authentic stories of why core values are so important for businesses, big or small. And even if you are a one-person shop, right, those values are just as important because it's not just for the organization, but it's also for every single constituent that you interact with. Whether they're your customers, your employees, the partners that you work with, be it vendors, or partners that you establish a joint value proposition for. So yeah, I was really hoping that when they gave me the selection of panels that I could get on this one. So thanks.
Okay. Adil, you want to say something about, in your organization, what kind of core values that you would like to, pursue and follow?
Sure, I would love to.
Is the mic?
Thank you so much. Guy, I hope I'm audible here, right? Okay. So guys, my name is Adil Akhtar. I'm the group chairman and a founder of Hedge and Sachs. We started this company almost a couple of years back with an ideation to make houses affordable for many. This is indeed a great concept that we actually thought of, and we have indeed had our fair part of challenges. We have seen struggles too, but one thing that remained absolutely intact was the core values that we practice and that we have been practicing almost for a couple of years now. Even while we were struggling, we ensured that honesty and transparency that are the two most important core values in the company. And we are going to be honest and transparent to our customers and even to our employees in an equal measure. Because that is what is going to make a company a better place to not just be working in, but to just be in that, is what I believe. So yes, the core values are really important, and right now Head and Sachs has grown to 300 people from just 3 when we actually started along with the other 4 founders. But yes, everything seems to have changed. Now when I talk about the core values, they haven't changed, but they have always got better and enhanced, is what I'll say. And this is what my take about core values are.
Oh, thank you. I just take your point from there on. See, I hail from automotive industry where I was handling about, let's say, 1,200 people as a head of a lot of departments. You say 320. Olivia says few, maybe 50, 100 or something like that. Dr. Mahesh probably is not, commanding people but handling people. Maya is same. I would come to another note. We all are talking about hundreds and thousands, but you have millions of people traveling across or through Bologna Airport. Do you see that the core values will change according to the, posting of people out there?
Well, of course, it depends on which enterprise you're managing, but I think on a certain, I think core values could not be that different. It depends really which is your attitude, and I think, first of all, in terms of corporate values, in my opinion, they should be aligned as much as possible with the company's mission and vision. Otherwise, something is missing. In our case, for an airport, okay, just a few figures, few info about our airport. We're placed in north and east of Italy. Bologna is a city of 400,000 people. It's a small city compared to this area, but also in Italy, so to say. But it's kind of a very strategic logistic positioning at the center of the high-speed rail and motorway network of Italy, which is it's a positive thing. So the region of Bologna, it's called Emilia-Romagna. The region altogether is around 4 million people. The airport reached last year 10 million passengers. So a higher number than the population of the region, because our catchment area goes beyond the region because of the connectivity of the area. Of course, one of our core missions is to connect people, to connect goods, to connect lives, to enable people to travel and to connect each other. And I think in a way, this has to be reflected into our values, both for our people that work at the airport and people that travel through the airport. Our company now we reached last year with the recovery after COVID, almost 600 people, but altogether, people working at the airport, what we call it the airport community, so other companies working, altogether we are around 3,000 people. So we are responsible for managing more or less a small city of 3,000 people working there, setting the rules, building the infrastructure, keeping everyone safe and secure. So this kind of responsibility, somehow, they have to be reflected into our values.
Okay. So I'll come to Maya now. He's talking about so many people and other. What do you mean? What are these core values? How do you define the core values? Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'd love to hear your input to Dr. Mahesh as a fellow psychologist. So core values, it's important for us to take a couple steps back and pan out and see things from a grand scheme of things perspective first. So core values from a positive psychology perspective and from a scientific perspective are guiding principles. There are red flags. There are our police line, do not cross, like don't mess with me kind of situation. Our values are, most of them are subconscious, like we're unconscious of them, but we understand what they are when we're triggered. So if, respect is one of your core values and somebody disrespects you and you lash out at them, that's because respect is one of your core values. So as we embark on our professional journeys and entrepreneurial journeys, or manage airports, or work in automotive, or build super successful companies, or become incredible coaches, it's really, really critical that we practice self-awareness. And as the quote goes, know thyself, love thyself. The more you understand who you are, the more you do the inner work and dig really deep to find out what your values are, you're going to cultivate this incredible love and respect for yourself, not in a conceited way, not in a stuck-up way, not in a look at me, I'm so awesome way, but in a very humble kind of way, because you get to learn more about yourself and the incredible things that you have to offer. But it is very critical that we understand who we are and become really aware of our values and practice them consciously. Not just know them, but then practice them consciously. That's how you make a difference in the world.
Yeah, Dr. Mahesh, you are, a well-known psychologist, I would say, so you can map all of us. But what she said something about, about the core values. There'll be obviously a difference in core values based on the diversity of the people that you're dealing with, the nature of the business, the time frame. It will always change those core values. And then there is a human perception. What I would say is that there has to be a connect between brain and heart. Unless and until you work with it, the wisdom, fine. But if you don't have passion into it, then you will face a lot of challenges. So what are the challenges if you consider the human perception? What are the challenges in defining the core values, actioning it, and then implementing it? So actioning is what you would probably plan, but implementation will be always connected to the people, and that has to come through brain as well as heart. This is what I feel. So what is your view on that?
Yeah, that's true. And I'll just take on from what Maya said on identifying the core values. I have just two simple principles. What we do when nobody's observing us is what our core values are. And two, what guides us in our darkest moments? What do we rely on to take a decision that is so damn difficult for us, challenging for us, is what core value is about. If we can identify this, as she said, the self-awareness, digging deep into reflective work. All this happens unconsciously, as she said. And as human beings, we don't want to get to the dark side. Just get there. That is where your authentic self is. And that's what will really drive all that I want to do as a consultant, as a manager, as a CEO, as a philanthropist. It could be anybody, just anybody. So these are the two ideas that I would like to share with you. These two things in place, you don't have to worry about your core value. Identifying them is the key part. And the challenges are innumerable. You can't be really doing that as a part of this panel. The challenge is to identify first. If you get there, the life is beautiful. I'll share something interesting. There are 3 levels at which I've experienced core values. One for myself, one for the team I work. I have a large pool of associates I work with. And the third is the client I service. So there needs to be an alignment of values across all these 3 levels. Only then your work becomes meaningful. At least I've experienced this. And it doesn't matter. I might lose in the short run, but the long run, I'm the gainer. I'll give a simple experience that I had. And I'm from India, and one of the overseas countries, I don't want to name that. I went to a large car dealer, and we had to do some work around people development. And when I went back, after doing my initial study, I went back and I was waiting for the HR head to come back. And he primarily made some false statements, which I got to know about from another person within the organization.
And then when they later invited me to do this work, I said, no, I can't do this because I can't live with this value. No, you can't be lying to me about something that I asked for, and then you're calling me to do that work. I said, no. And the CFO called me and said, Mahesh, do you know how much loss you're making? I said, I know. It is more than $13 million worth of work that I was losing. I said, are you betting on that? I said, yes, I'm not. And what I've experienced in this is you'll find your soulmate in terms of the people you work with. And when you're connected at that level, all the work under the sun is yours too. You don't have to worry about work. That connection is important, and I got the same organization to come back and tell me that somebody else wants to work on this similar project. Probably worth the same amount of value that I work for another client. While I did not work with that client, but I found a soulmate in that client who could refer me to somebody else. So there are challenges. The challenges are you can lose in the short term. Be prepared for that and spend time on the dark side of self. That's really critical for reflective work to happen. Over to you, Mahesh.
So,
Sorry, go on.
no, I just think that's so beautiful. Like that last statement was so powerful.
Yeah, that's good. No, I have one question. He was talking about challenges, and then don't worry about the challenges, or for that matter, that you will be able to overcome another thing. But have you come across, let's say, a typical challenge that you had to overcome, and how do you acted on it? Can you share the experience?
Well, in terms of typical challenge, I think the most obvious, but anyway, the most informative way, also from a personal point of view, was how we went through the pandemic crisis for an airport, because our sector was, the world was hit. We know all very well. Italy was one of the first countries in Europe to be hit by COVID. And in our experience, just to give you an idea, on average, we experienced to have between 25,000 and 26,000 people going through the airport every day. In few days, we went down from 25,000 to 70 people. So the infrastructure was completely empty. Imagine the shock for the people working there, and managing from a kind of infrastructure like service-oriented company to an entity that had to preserve, first of all, lives of people, let's say, lives of passengers and our employees, of course. We had to set up in literally 2 weeks, working from remote for people that were never used to do it. And if we had to do it, planning to be ready to be working from remote on a normal, starting from a normal situation, we would have said, okay, we will do a project and probably in a year we will be ready, probably. But we were ready in 2 weeks because we had no other choice. So the mindset of the people was really going through an extreme experience, because they had to be, on site, people that had to provide the services, and they had to connect with people that were working from home. Of course, we, the managers of the company, we needed to stay in place, and we couldn't work from home. We actually, after a month, we decided to do, okay, let's do 1 day at home and the other days on the airport, just to show that we are there anyway. So the value of being close to people and servicing the people, taking care for the people, I think it was among the different values that are within our company, the value that came up strong at the moment. Because as Bologna Airport, we were one of the 10, 12 airports in Italy that were left open during COVID, because we are the main airport in the region. Other airports were shut down because it wasn't economical to let them open. And we were open only for 1 flight a day to connect the city and the region to the rest of Italy. So there was only 1 flight a day going from Bologna to Rome, the capital city, and that was it. Of course, we had to manage the cargo, because cargo was still working, and for good reasons they were providing goods and for also for fighting the pandemic. But the experience totally changed in a very short time. And let alone the fact that it was the pandemic and all the risks, but I think what we did at that moment, we concentrated on taking care of the people. So that the human values, let's say, came out strong. And in that moment, I think that, okay, company core values were important, but it was most important the personal core value that came up.
Okay. Maya, I have a difficult question. He said something about, having challenges and overcoming them. Definitely, he talked about the mindset also. And that means, at times, when the chips are down, you need to motivate people. How do you do that? I mean, motivation is one thing, but really making them, accept something, whatever are your core values, and they have to, go along with the line. How do you motivate them to follow those?
That's, I can stay here for years talk about that. How do you motivate people? Is that the question?
I'm talking about motivating people only in the context of following the core values. If there is a challenge, how to overcome, and if there is a roadblock because your organizational policies or constraints are there, how do you motivate those guys then?
Okay, that's more specific, so I can address that. So, when it comes to motivation or when it comes to overcoming hurdles or challenges in Bologna Airport or personal challenges or life in general as an entrepreneur, and whatever the case may be, I think the rule is one and the same, because as we level up as individuals and as we progress and expand as individuals, you're gonna meet challenges. It's just a part and parcel of life. It's just part of the package. But the challenge is always going to look different. One day could be COVID, another day could be, you're getting a divorce, whatever the case may be. So, to motivate people to get the job done, or to help yourself overcome a particular challenge, I think the first step for us to take in that specific instance is to welcome challenges. I think part of the reason why we struggle so much as human beings is we're programmed to resist challenges. We tend to think that life is supposed to be lovey-dovey, airy-fairy, rosy all the time, and it's not designed to be this way. It's actually designed, challenges are there for a reason. Challenges serve a purpose. They're there to introduce you to yourself. They're there to reintroduce you to parts of yourself that you may have forgotten about. They're there to help you tap into your resilience. They're there to make you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? It's part of the package. And I think I want to address resilience really quickly because I want the other panelists to get a chance to talk. But from a positive psychology perspective, we define resilience 3 ways. We have recovery, resistance, and reconfiguration. So recovery is you're a tree, like standing tall. A storm hits and you bend with the storm. And then when the storm passes, you stand tall again. That's one form of resilience. It's about flexibility and bouncing back. And then there's resistance. So you're a big tree, you have a thick bark, your roots are dug deep into the earth, and nothing can move you. You're immovable. Kind of what happened up there, kind of similar to your situation. They survived the pandemic and they were able to thrive. Well, not thrive, but they survived. And then the last option, the last type is reconfiguration, which is the tree is transformed because of a particular challenge or adversity. In that specific instance, the tree starts to grow a plant, the tree is changed, the tree is transformed, and that's what PTG, that's what post-traumatic growth is all about. How trauma and challenges and life happening tend to transform us for the better. So that's the short answer.
Can I pick up on this?
Yeah, yes, well.
You give me you lift the ball, so I can. No, I can add on this because it's very good. During those days, those months, I had time to read more, because anyway, we couldn't do that much. I read this book about anti-fragile. Yeah, and this image of anti-fragility, it's something now all the people in the company know it, because I was so enthusiastic about the idea that I could communicate something that, okay, we're going through a very hard time, but we're going to come out stronger. It's easy to say and difficult to be done. But this concept that let's not stop on resilience as it is, but let's try to figure out how we can benefit, let's say, more or less, from this experience. Looking back after 4 years, 3 years, it was very helpful because it gave people a motivation and a hope that when this all will be over, they would come out strong. And in fact, after 4 years, we were lucky enough to be stronger than we were before. We didn't know before, of course. It was a bet somehow, but it was a concept that helped people to imagine the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, when you talk about motivation at home and at work, it raises a question, and I'm going to ask Olivia. Why Olivia? I'll tell you. See, her business will be big. I don't know how much money you earn, but the thing is, probably your workforce will be limited, right? Am I right in understanding? Now here what happens is that you have certain personal core values. You want to put certain core values in an organization, and there will be a gray area. You know, you would be in an authority position, and you can, this has to be done. Something like that. So how do you keep that balance? Is there any different way to handle this? Is the environment out there is different when we talk about core values on a personal level and core values on an organization?
Yeah, so thanks for that question. I think what's has been really important for me as an entrepreneur when I started the business is to ensure that that we communicate our values very clearly to our key stakeholders, employees being a very important part of that constituent. And it starts not just by putting your core values on the plaque on a wall, and you enter the office and you see it, but it's about ensuring that throughout their journey with us as professional consultants, that they can understand that the core values are there to support how they do what they do. So while they understand our purpose, our mission and our vision, the core values are there to support them when they operate in our environment. Right? And it should not steer away from what they also value. So this comes as part of the hiring process. When you're hiring fellow colleagues to join your franchise of your business, whether you're big or small, right? Ideologically, they should align with your core values. Right? So at Vera Asia, actually Vera is an acronym for our 5 core values, which is value centricity, efficacy, respect, resourcefulness, and advocacy. And this all supports us being the best advocates for our clients. It's a go-to-market consultancy firm, and we work with a lot of customers on branding. And so we have to take it personally, we take it on board when we work with our clients, that all these core values are labeled and linked to how we behave. Not just with our clients, but also how we work with our fellow consultants. Right? That it's not just about, when I talk about, being an advocate, it's also being an advocate for your colleague. So one of the things that we pride ourselves in doing every day at work is we actually don't ask for help. When I turn to my colleague, I say, can I consult you on this? And suddenly it sort of elevates, the atmosphere around us. And the ability to motivate each other very intrinsically comes along. So as we think about instilling the right corporate values in place first, that's really important. And because it's also an occupational hazard for me, because one of the things we do is we help build brands that become great. And part of that is how your core values shape up your corporate strategy, how you think about product innovation and your roadmap, you think about how it applies to your human capital strategy, and then promotion and marketing.
True.
Right? And if I ask the room today, how many of you run businesses where your customers recognize your core values? Can I see a show of hands?
Oh, that's pretty
That is
Awesome.
right,
Awesome.
and that's when you know you got it right, because your employees who represent your brand is out there operating with the clients as you have prescribed.
Correct.
The good news about all the heads going up, you'll be never out of business.
Adil, I want you to share your experience. You know what? When we talk about core values and we get out of the blue, you know, situation where there is a conflict of interest, either person to person, person to business, or business to business. Can you share an example for a situation where you find that you cannot or you have to say compromise on core values when you talk about in the longer interest business policy? Can you share an example?
Certainly, I would love to. And right before that, I would really like to appreciate her is because she used a statement that core values shouldn't just be pasted on the walls, but they have to be practiced on everyday basis. Now, when I talk about our challenges, our core values, how did we actually start? Because we did not start the company with a very definite core values. I'll be very honest with you. On the day one, I was a entrepreneur altogether, along with the other 3 partners in the company. And at that point of time, after a month or 2, I suppose, we had grown up to 15 people. Yes. And I remember because I take care of the sales and marketing, and the other 4 founders, some take care of admin, and Shivansh is the one who actually take care of finance. So we had gotten a new target for sales, and that was supposed to be achieved that particular month. But how sales industry works is they are the warriors, and you have to equip them with arms and ammunitions. And the arms and ammunitions are nothing but mobile phones and SIM cards, and with the right package. That is how sales work. Now the problem is, it is the responsibility of the administrative team to take care of mobile phones, SIM cards, and the other accessories that sales actually requires. But that particular month, the whole month, all the SIM cards were barred, and the administrative team realized it really late, and so late that I had already taken a target, a very huge target, and I had cascaded it the same to the team, along with the founder, that is Shivansh Rajat. And the moment I realized that there is no SIM card, and believe me, if anybody else would have been in such a situation, would have just fought with the administrative team, I could have literally had a boiler room session earlier, because at that point of time, I think even I was a little immature in possessing those core values. But core values is not something again to add. It has to be in your heart. It has to, whatever the core values are, that naturally comes out. You just can't learn core values over a period of a year or 2. This is something, how you are raised, who do you spend majority of your time with, if the same person share the same core values, that is when your core values personally are going to be inevitable at the end. What I did at that point of time, instead of really getting into any such boiler room session, and you know how sales works. We speak targets, we are at times really boiled within, but we just do not do that. And I suppose we are the only a little different asset management firm, and especially the sales section is a little different. They at that moment, they just did not take this a little, I say, violent and corporate step. Instead, they connected every client over WhatsApp. They did chat with the customers. They took out the appointments. They also shared wheresoever there was a Wi-Fi. So whatever help they could actually get from the internet, Uh, and not even for a minute, they made the administrative team realize that it was their mistake. And with this, I realized, and that is when I think right after a month, after getting the results on board, I realized that we had cracked a business of already 1.8. That was a surge from the previous month. And anything is possible, it is just that you brainstorm. What we did, what the 4 founders did is, we brainstormed, we discussed. And it sounds really impossible to achieve a target over WhatsApp. And that is something that we did. And I think we are proud of our team. Also, over a period of time, what I've realized is, it is very challenging for you to, because the 4 founders in the company, it is your company, you would want to be practicing the core values every day. You would want everybody in the team to be doing so. But I always tell my HR and admin team who have taken this accountability to cascade the core values to every single soul on the floor and in the organogram, I've told them to, because I have worked with a lot of multinational companies in the past, I've worked with a lot of companies in my hometown also, and none of those companies actually care to talk about the values with any of the team member. What we do a little differently in the company is we ensure that the HR admin team, or for that sake, the founders of the company, whenever we have a little time, we speak to even the initial part of the hierarchies and we talk about the core values, just and just. No target, not about the expansion. Let us talk about being honest. Let us talk about being transparent. Push each other forward, guide them, and freedom is what I suppose is very important. In core values, I suppose freedom is the most important thing, right after transparency and honesty.
Okay.
So,
You want to
I
add
just want to say that we
Sure.
have 5 more minutes and we do want to open questions.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do that. But before that, I just have one question to Dr. Mahesh. You have been dealing with a lot of organization, mentoring and conducting programs out there. And surely you must have come across something which struck your mind that this is not right or this is very good to follow, like a benchmark. Can you throw some light on that?
Benchmark, I think that stands out for me is when the organization, as I said, is able to help its people manifest the core values. When there is an alignment, that's when it really plays out. So for me, the 2 things I'd like to say before I close is living core values is not easy. It takes efforts. Yeah, not living them is easy. This is really, really critical. To be able to live your core values, you have to take efforts. It cannot happen otherwise. There's no shortcut. You have to walk the talk, right? 2, there's a simple formula that one could use to be able to do this. First is pause, reflect, make choices, play button again. Start the play button. That's all you need to do. And it takes efforts to do all this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to take a couple of questions from the audience. And in the meantime, I would suggest the panelists to make one concluding statement from their perspective. After these questions, we will go ahead. Any question? Yeah. Please. You can ask the question to a specific person or the panel, whichever way it is.
Is this on? Yeah. It's for the group. So the discussion here has been at a high level enlightening, and but it doesn't really address what I call ground level issues and problems. So I source products in Asia. We make things by the container for people. At some point, my clients have to bring these goods into the country. We have to pay tariffs. Now, my clients think that government is really a criminal organization that steals half of our money, half of our income, only to serve them and not the people. So they think it's a moral imperative to save as much tax as possible. If you go to one of the government people at the Harmonized Tariff Department and you say, what should I pay for this goods? They'll look through a book that's about that thick. They'll find the highest possible tariff that they can levy on you and say that's what you pay. But the book's this thick. It's up to you to make that decision. So I'll have the client, you'll say, well, I've been looking through the book and it says here that if we bring this product in, I can pay 2%. But you're telling me I need to pay 40. If I pay 40, I can't make my margins. And it's ambiguous. Where's the core value? What do we do in an ambiguous situation with, I'm not going to say government's immoral, but I would say they're amoral. They don't care. They have this book, and these people that can come in and regulate you or come in and inspect you, it depends. If you get a nice person, they're going to let you say, okay, 2% was fine. If you get a mean person, they can come in and say, you needed to pay 40%, and we're going to go back through the last 7 years of everything you've ever imported, and we're going to charge you with that, and we're going to charge you interest. So the client saying, I can't survive on that. There has to be some place I can go in between. So what do you do? Because these clients, they have companies, they have people. These people have children. They think it's moral to pay them as much as they can. They think it's moral to pay them bonuses whenever they can. And the only way they can do that is to keep their costs down. But you have a government entity that doesn't care about them. They just care about the money. And so we have a conflict. So where do your core values come in then? I have a solution, but I would be interested, because obviously this is my business for 20 years. I've solved it. But I would be interested in hearing what you have to say about dealing with amoral government entities and trying to survive in a business environment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just to throw some light on that, we agree that there is a little high-level discussion, but every one of us should think of building people, and building people on 4 steps across the life cycle. Let's say first step will be pity, second step will be sympathy, third empathy, and then compassion. Unless and until you have that relation, you can say that I'm sorry, or that's pity. Sympathy, I feel sorry for you. Empathy, yes, I'm sorry and I'll listen to you. The compassion, yes, I'm there to help you. If you keep that kind of, dealings with the person on a ground level, it automatically constructs on the higher level.
It doesn't solve the problem. These decisions are made on a phone call. They have to happen within 20, 25 minutes, and there has to be a solution.
Yes.
And where is your morality in this situation?
Exactly.
Is it with the client who's trying to feed his company and his people and make profit and get people bonuses, or is it with the government who is amoral, who spends more money than they should and only serves themselves?
Yeah.
And so, what do you do? Now, our solution is a legal solution. We say, this is our recommendation. If you want to go there, we can go there. Here's a contract where you take responsibility. Will you sign it? At that point, you put the issue back onto the client. If they're willing to sign it, they're willing to pay for our legal fees, if we get drug in the court and all these kind of things.
Yeah, if I can just respond to that question. People issues are complex. They are not binary. We can't just have a solution for the issue you're talking about. It will, of course. What we're talking about is, what is the purpose that you have set up your business for? That will drive a lot of stuff that you're talking about. But having said that, there is no linear solution to this. You're asking, what is the solution? I say, no.
Well, I think we're missing the point.
Yeah.
We're dealing with an ambiguous situation where spectrum is huge of what right and wrong can possibly be interpreted, and you're dealing with an amoral government, people who don't care about you. Governments do not have great mission statements. Governments do not have a moral code of conduct. For them, it's all about bringing in the money. So you're forced to deal with them. You can't walk away from them. You can't say,
Sure.
well, you know what? I just don't want to do business with the government.
I think we should take this discussion in
Yeah, maybe we can.
One last question from the lady who said,
We'll take
But
this up.
I just want to say one thing without dismissing, right, what you're raising, and I definitely empathize with your challenges with regulators. I worked many years with regulators as well. But I just want to draw back to the conversation around that your core values is what your brand stands for. It is not a manual to solve the problems that occur as you operate your business. And upholding it as a leader attracts the right people to join your organization to do the right things based on how you want your employees to operate, to be representative of your brand. So I think that while the challenges are real, I just want to draw back to the fact that core values are not a manual to solve your problems. Yeah, it's not.
yeah.
Can I add on here a little?
If I were
We
just
can
one
take
thing.
this, we have one last question and then we wrap up with these concluding statements.
But I'm sure you'll have a solution for this too. I mean, I certainly understand. There's a problem right now. Even I was, had such a problem in the past. Like the SIM card thing that I just talked about. Even at that point, at that point of time, I thought that there's no solution other than just go and speak to my partner that he has done this wrong and let us end this. I am going to use this as an excuse to not achieve the target. But for the first 2-3 days, I was under the same impression, but right after that, the solution was developed. At this point of time, government has not been really helping you, but I'm sure when you sit down and understand within, you yourself will come up with a solution for this and absolutely stick to the core value. You will naturally come up with a solution for it. If not today, then tomorrow for sure.
Should set the intention to find a solution. I know it sounds very airy-fairy and philosophical, but setting the intention to find a solution will help you find one.
Well, I've got my legal solution. I just want to make everybody aware that sometimes when you deal with government that you can't get away from, you're dealing with an amoral organization that doesn't fit your core values, but you have no choice.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
sure.
so this is also high level, but that's a real world problem that I have to deal with every single day. And
Yep.
if I just followed it by the book, I wouldn't have a client. So I could be as moral as I want to be, but I wouldn't have any clients. So that's all I have to say. You got another
Yeah,
question?
we have these two experts.
I was going to say work with another government, work at another country. Can you do that? Just go find another country.
One
All
last
governments
question.
are the same.
One quick question and then we wrap up. Please. Anyway, we will be here, so whatever your questions are.
Oh, we have to end it? Oh.
Morning. My name is Rob Castro from an organisation called EPAP Investment. I'm going to challenge what you said this morning. One of the biggest problems I'm facing is my core values aren't other people's core values. Then you become isolationist. Rather than accept other people's core values, work with them, understand them, we're ending up in a world where unless you think and believe what I believe, you're my enemy. I won't deal with you. So for me, it's very important to actually speak to, embrace, and do business with people who don't have your core values. Because how they were brought up, where they were born, their financial situation, all impacts the development of your core values, how you were heard. And if you only work within your core value spectrum, you're going to end up in a world where we are rapidly going into, where the only form of agreement is.
Yeah, thank you. So quick wrap up, starting from Nadarana, your one statement, take away our conclusion.
Time is up, so very quick. I think that in order to survive your own personal core value, you need to align with your business core value, otherwise you're disconnected.
Okay, thank you. Maya?
Yeah, like, time is up, so I don't want to, punctuality should be one of our core values. Know thyself, do the inner work, practice self-awareness, and you will be unstoppable.
Listen deeply.
Listen deep. Your core values are your business's DNA.
Thank you.
I would say don't compromise on your core values that you have made in the company, because if you do it once, you will do it twice, thrice, and every day then. So don't do it.
I would just say, I say half part of it, build people and collect people. That's the essence of the thing. So I thank the panelists for their sharing their views, and I thank audience for patiently listening to whatever the expert have to say. We will be there if at all you have any further questions. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you to our panelists. That was a thought-provoking session and some great questions from the audience as well. Sorry to cut it short though. If you do have more questions, you can pick their brains during the networking sessions. Thank you.